Cam wearing some quality Versace pants. I know you noticed that, Willie McGinest.
Oh, yes, I did.
What'd you think? What'd you think of those? The choice of the Cam wear yesterday?
Not me. Not so. I'm not cutting edge, I guess. And
That's not true.
Those are called the Go to Hell Versace pants.
Is that really what they're called?
That's what they're called, I believe. They announced
So you
it.
know what they are?
Yeah, because we were on the show when he landed.
Oh, okay.
So we had, Jeff Darlington had all the information on his pants.
Oh my gosh. Can't wait.
$849. Go to Hell Versace pants.
Is that how much they are?
Yes, that is how much they are.
Wow. Yeah,
But they're sold out. You can't get a pair right now.
Because of Cam?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
How many quarterbacks are making Versace pants fly off shelves?
Well,
I've never heard of that one.
How many
before.
quarterbacks are wearing those pants?
Well,
that is the question.
Brockman, you're saying on Twitter right now that somebody took Peyton Manning's head and put it on Cam's body coming off the plane.
They flopped heads.
And put Cam on Peyton's suited and booted body?
Correct.
He's probably zennied out, probably, Peyton.
Looks pretty good.
Is it? Yeah?
Yeah,
So
Peyton can rock him.
Can Peyton pull it off?
I think he could pull him off.
Three-time Super Bowl champion Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show that's had an in-studio guest all 3 hours. That in-studio guest is named the Vince Lombardi Trophy. What's your favorite memory of any of those three that you were able to touch with that trophy when you grabbed it for the first time or second or third?
I think probably the first one, 2001, where nobody gave us a shot to win that football game. We're huge underdogs, and we came out and victorious in that game. I think I would say we shocked the world in that first one that we won.
Yeah, and that Brady shot of him putting his hands on his head, like
Couldn't believe
realizing that life has now changed for him forever at that moment. That's truly one of the more indelible Super Bowl celebration moments, if you think about it.
Yeah, just the whole journey for Brady, for the team getting there, going back and forth with Drew Bledsoe. Remember, Brady got hurt in that Pittsburgh game. Drew came in and finished it and won it, and then the controversy started up again, who would start in the Super Bowl, and we decided to go with Brady, of course, and a young kid, 6th-round draft pick, coming to the forefront for us, and pretty much the rest is history.
What was that moment like prior to the Super Bowl? When did Bill come in and say Brady's our starter? Did he get everyone together? He did do that.
Yeah, he took
the team.
He took the distraction out of it right away. We didn't want a distraction going into the Super Bowl. That was the biggest game, of course, of our lives, and nobody wanted to answer a question about who was going to become the quarterback or whatever. So he nipped that in the bud right away. In the team meeting, he let us know first, and then we addressed the media.
So what was that team meeting like? Was Drew in the room? And Tom,
of course, everybody
was
was in the room, and he let everybody know at once that we're going to stay with Brady. He was our quarterback just because he got injured in the game that he wasn't going to switch. And I think that was good for us because going into that week of preparation and what have you, the media, you know how they can be. And we didn't want to answer those questions, and we didn't want it to become about that.
Sure.
We wanted to focus on our opponents. And that was the best thing a coach could have done for us.
Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show. You know Super Bowl 50, as you know, clearly. And there is word that the NFL is going to try and get as many Super Bowl MVPs back to celebrate it here in this game.
Yeah.
Can you give me any sense of what TB12's mindset would be if he gets that phone call as a 3-time MVP of this great event? What do you think?
TB12 probably will not be attending. He will probably be relaxing somewhere. It kills him that he's not playing in this game.
Well, he's going to be in Ann Arbor on Wednesday for Jim
Michigan,
Harbaugh's big signing with the Stars.
That's huge,
Derek
right?
Jeter and everybody.
Derek Jeter. I mean,
tell me about it.
You got the best of the best. I'm surprised you're not flying in just for the opportunity and flying right back out.
Well, Super Bowl week is, I'm a little busy, but
they can send a jet for you. Go in and out.
With the Stephen Ross, Air Ross. Yeah. I don't know if that's a violation of any sort. But so you think that Tom won't be here because if he's not playing, he's not coming,
No, he's just he's probably not over the whole situation yet. He takes it hard. Probably felt like he didn't play his best. He's not going to make any excuses.
So the situation is the AFC Championship game.
He takes all the blame.
Okay.
I mean, it could be a little bit of that too.
The D word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe he's not over everything yet, and. As players, I never wanted to go and watch a Super Bowl game while I was playing because I felt like if I didn't earn the right to be playing in the game, I shouldn't be there. If I had appearances or I had obligations, I would go. I would do that. I would fly out that morning of the game and watch it at home. So for players, we usually don't like to be there just to hang out and watch the game if they're not playing in it.
Willie McGinest here, 3-time Super Bowl champion on the Rich Eisen Show from Observation Post at the Presidio here. So Peyton Manning, getting him off the spot, you and Belichick and the rest of that Patriot team, that was the mantra all those years when Peyton was actually 0-6 in his first times against Tom Brady. That is the sense still of beating this version of Peyton Manning, do you think, come Sunday? Is still getting him off the spot?
I think the ball is coming out quicker because he's not throwing the ball down the field as much.
Sure.
But if you look at the AFC Championship, what Denver was able to do to Tom Brady, that's the exact same game plan Carolina should have going into playing against Peyton Manning. Get him off the spot, immediate pressure up the gut, like Kawan Short and Starr.
He's playing out of his mind,
Right.
Short.
Yeah, and they can do it. They have the personnel to do it. So I would just mirror exactly what Denver did to the Patriots, and you try and do the same thing and stop the running game. If they control the trenches and they stop the running game, and you make Peyton Manning one-dimensional, I thought I would never say this in a million years, force him to beat you with his arm, I think that's the recipe.
That is you sort of hit the nail on the head of the irony of this, is that Manning, this is the best defense he's clearly ever had. And that's all due respect to the Dwight Freeney, Bob Sanders of the world.
It is.
Okay? Because Peyton's one championship year was, if you recall,
one of the worst
when
defenses.
Indianapolis couldn't stop the run. They bring in Bob Sanders down into the box and things changed in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
And I sometimes think that Manning would definitely have already had his second ring already if he had a defense like this in his quote-unquote heyday.
Right.
You would agree with that sentiment?
I would agree. And if look at the Super Bowl appearances that Peyton played in, the one he didn't win against Chicago, he won that when he played good. The rest of the games, because of the defense and how they affected him, he didn't play well at all. Seattle, he played terrible, and he didn't play terrible against other teams. New Orleans.
The New Orleans one was
I mean, he needs defense, but also he needs to play better in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So the defense can have a direct effect on whether he wins or loses, and especially now because he's not the same quarterback.
What's your sense with Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show of the conversation about Cam Newton? And, Dan Patrick was on in the first hour, and he's like me, saying, I don't mind the celebration. Stop him if you don't want to see it.
Right.
But he's also saying the thing he doesn't buy into this whole Cam Newton criticism is who is the they? There's really no name attached to the quote-unquote haters that are out there. Where do you stand on this whole subject of race and quarterbacks and things of that nature?
I see all quarterbacks and everybody as the same. And yes, there's been a stigma about African-American quarterbacks. I think we've come a long way. The quarterback position has come a long way. Russell Wilson won it a couple of years ago. And yes, they're totally different. He doesn't celebrate. It's all about team. They don't have as much fun. But that's okay. I mean, Walsh is different than Parcells or Belichick. I mean, coaches are different. So the way they're winning football games, the way they're out there celebrating, having fun, to me, that's just saying they got a strong team chemistry. And they got a lot of camaraderie on that team, which it reminds me of our team. We didn't celebrate as much, but we were really, really tight. And if you're going to win a Super Bowl, then you need to be close. You need to be tight. You need to be accountable to your teammates. Your teammates need to trust you. And I see that with this team. I see that with Cam. I see him with cleats with every team member name on his shoes. That's telling me that he understands now. Early on in his career, I don't know if he really understood it. It was more about him, the interviews, the way he presented himself at the the post-game interviews and different things like that. I think he's matured. I think he's developed, not just off the field, but on the field as a player. And everything's come together. Like, look at the defensive side of the ball. A couple of big, there's some names. Look at the offense. No Pro Bowlers at receiver in certain positions. But this team has done a great job, Rich, at making names for themselves. And now everybody know who they are. Nobody really is giving them a chance because they're Carolina.
Who wins the game?
Look at the colors I'm wearing today.
You're wearing a blue shirt.
I'm wearing a little gray.
You're wearing gray and blue.
A little white. Been there somewhere.
So is that Carolina? Is
Yeah,
that where you're going?
I'm going with Carolina.
Thank you for actually answering the question.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Everybody
straddle
else
the
here today,
fence.
Eric was like, I doesn't want to give up the, and
Man.
Dan said it was too early in the week.
There's nothing else to study. I mean,
O'Hara was
what's different?
evasive.
What's going to be different between now and game
Nothing.
time? We've watched all the
Nothing.
film. You're not going to get any more film. You can go back and watch the old games. You just
Yeah.
got to look at the matchups.
Unless somebody does anything stupid, and I don't think anybody on this team's going to, either one of these teams is going to do anything
Experience versus the team that doesn't have experience.
So you like Carolina in
I
this
like
game?
Carolina a lot. I think they're built for this. I think they understand the magnitude of this game. I know they don't have a lot of experience, but they're hungry. They play a style of football that's difficult, and they're aggressive, and I just like the way they play in the trenches. And when you can go out and have fun, like they're enjoying the sport.
Right.
That's just telling me that this is something a little bit different.
What if Peyton just lights it up in a way that we don't expect?
I don't think Peyton.
Three
I don't think so.
touchdowns, 300 yards.
I don't think so,
old
Dan.
school Peyton Manning back
Listen,
in the
man.
day.
Listen,
shows up and
listen.
rides off.
Listen, Rich.
Yeah,
I watched the AFC Championship.
I did too.
Okay, so if you look at how that game was played,
Yeah.
a couple double moves by the tight end, right?
Yes.
Jamie Collins made a couple bad plays. Those are the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
Nothing.
it's an average game for Peyton.
Okay. Way to rain on the parade.
Dang,
Willie
just
McGinest.
look at it. I'm just saying. Dang.
Way to
Just
rain on
look
the
at it. I'm not. I'm just being honest.
You are. You're keeping it 100. What are the names of the pants again? What's the names of his pants?
To go to hell.
Go to hell. Go to hell.
Versace.
But there's nowhere to. So basically, if you go to try and buy them, you're told
I
to
heard
go to
they're
hell
sold
because
out.
they're gone.
They're in Paris or whatever, but the guys in Paris are like 5'5", 170 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't see those
Yeah.
had to be custom made for Cam.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go in and say, I want the Cam
Dang,
Newton
man.
size
I'm
pants.
like, dang.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks, Rich.
That's
Always.
Willie McGinest here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.